So, I remember, as I'm sure we all do, my story is actually about my first semester here. I remember going to the memorial service for the donors, and it was an emotional time for me, in and of itself, as I'm sure that it was for everyone. The memorial service, just to kind of reminisce, I suppose. It was hard for me personally, just being around mourning people for their loved ones and hearing stories about, little boy's favorite memory of grandpa was him teaching him how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the piano when maybe we did a laminectomy on him the day before, you know what I mean? So coming out of that was hard. I teared up a little bit. I remember waiting for my bus at the bus stop, and my dad calls me and he says that my stepmom's mom, so essentially my grandma, was just diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer after I came out of that memorial service. So that was kind of hard to deal with. She didn't have any symptoms of brain cancer. She just had happened to have fallen, and they were just going to do, a CT to see if she had any hemorrhaging in her brain or anything like that, and surprise, they found this malignant tumor that had already metastasized to multiple places in her spine and her groin, and it was stage 4. So that was the first 4 weeks of med school. I'd already had an exam under my belt. It was hard to adjust to being here, but then kind of having that on top of being in med school was a very hard thing to deal with. I guess I wanted to tell this story because it was really hard for me. I realized when I was going through all that, I had considered, that was probably a reason enough for me not to be here. To go home and be with my family. But in thinking about it, I don't think that it would have done me any good to go home, because it was going to kind of be, inevitable what was going to end up happening anyways. So I kept doing my med school thing. I just kind of used that. I kept updated with what was going on. Her treatment was aggressive. It was about $55,000 a treatment. Medicare paid for all but $7,000. And so she didn't go through treatment for very long. It was too painful for her. I didn't go home very much to see her. She kept up to date with me through Facebook. On Thanksgiving was the next time that I saw her after she got diagnosed, and she was pretty emaciated by that time, and her brain was starting to go. She wasn't saying a lot of things that really made a lot of sense, and I remember getting ready to leave on Thanksgiving, and she gives me a hug, and in front of my entire family she goes, "Emily, please cure cancer. It hurts so bad." And it was a hard thing. It was a hard thing to deal with. I keep saying that, but it's just, the only thing, you can't really do anything about these things. They're gonna happen either way. And so the next thing that I guess happened with that is still going through med school, still just kind of using that as a little bit of motivation. I could have been sad about it, but I said, she always wanted me to be a good doctor, so I will just keep working hard. And during finals week, I get a call from my dad on the Thursday of finals week after we'd taken most of our stuff. He said, "What are you doing right now?" And And I said, well, I just finished basically my last exam, so what's up? And he said, well, Elaine just got admitted to hospice, so it would be a good idea for you to come back home sometime soon, sooner rather than later. The doctor said that if anyone wanted to see her, that they should see her that day. My birthday was that week as well. My birthday was finals week, and I didn't really get to celebrate my birthday that much, but that wasn't really that important to me at the time. I did the 2.5-hour drive back to Dayton that Thursday. A bunch of my friends were planning on going out, but at that point in time, it was more important for me to see her. So, drove back, saw her at hospice, talked to the hospice nurses about how they dealt with death, and how they dealt with just dealing with people. And what they said was really helpful for me, and just having gone through like CTAC and stuff, like the best way to empathize with people who are going through those things, because you don't really know what to say when people are going through hard things like that. And their advice was really good. They pretty much just said, the best thing that you could do when people are going through hard things is to just listen and just be there for people. And that's kind of really resonated with me since then, because it's hard to identify with a lot of the things that we see when we're going into medicine, especially with people dying. I saw her, I read her a book, chapter of the Bible, and I said what I wanted to say. I told her that I loved her and everything. And I drove back to Athens the next day, and then I packed up my stuff, and then I went back home. She ended up living a couple more days. She actually died with her funeral service being on December 23rd, so 2 days before Christmas. You know, no one told me that life doesn't stop for medical school, but it does. And I guess I just kind of wanted to tell that story because, you know, no one really, while I was going through that, no one really knew that I was going through those things. I like to consider myself, I feel like you can look at situations like that, you know, a couple of ways. You can either take a situation that's bad, you can't do anything about it, and you can kind of let it destroy you, or you can take it and you can use it as motivation to do whatever it is that you want to do. My background on my phone now is one of the Facebook comments that she put on one of my posts about being a doctor that basically says, she says, I know this because it's on my lock screen, it says, keep up the good work and enjoy the learning process. I'm praying for you and you will be a great doctor someday. So, you know, it was like a crappy thing, but I take it and I use it as motivation for her, for everyone that I love, and for the people who I want to help in the future. So, those things, it can either make you a victim or a victor, I like to say. You can be a winner, or you can be a whiner, I like to say. I have a lot of sayings, but the name of my little story, I think it's a happy ending. The name of my story is Memento Mori. I have a tattoo that says Memento Mori on my leg. Memento Mori is a Latin phrase that means remember you will die. I think it's an important thing to realize when we're in medical school because we're dealing with actual lives. If you acknowledge your mortality, I know it's kind of a morbid thing, but if you acknowledge that our life is limited and that the people whose lives that we're dealing with are limited, then it adds value to the time that we're spending, and it makes you appreciate the moments that you have day to day, one day at a time. And so with that, I like to say Memento Mori, but I also like to say Memento Vivere, which means remember you will die, remember to live. So even though bad things happen, you have to have the perspective to be able to take it and make it worthwhile, I suppose. You can let your suffering define you, or you can choose to you can choose to define your life with what you're given, I guess, is what I have to say. So that's pretty much it. I hope that was good.